Now, managing a complex crisis like COVID-19 can be challenging. Routine approaches, single-issue responses, or action plans have not really been effective. For more on ways we can collaborate on strategic responses and also address the compliance challenges, whilst, of course, other considerations exist, we have in the studio Dr. Aino Oyikomi. She's a consultant psychiatrist. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you, Millicent.
All right, so tell us, is there a science to compliance?
Yes, there is. There is. And science does not lie. In the delivery of healthcare, non-compliance is not a new problem, so we are used to it because, you know, it's not easy to tell people, don't do this, don't do that. Now, how do we tackle health problems? We have two prongs. It's either the curative one or the preventive one. And everybody knows that the preventive is better. But the preventive usually requires that you modify your lifestyle. And that is not too easy for people. I mean, people are already used to a certain way of life. And then you tell them, oh, don't do this, don't do that. And then bringing it back home to COVID. I mean, COVID safety protocol is attacking one of the central instinct of human existence, and that is social interaction. So it is not easy because we must put problems in perspective so that people would understand and then will prefer the right solution. And then the second one is that you're telling people to cover their noses. One fundamental thing also that people hold so dear is the freedom to breathe. And then you're now telling them to cover their noses. And then we know that the masks are not comfortable. And we have different degrees of mask. Some are more comfortable than the others. And for a place like Nigeria where there's so much poverty, a lot of people cannot afford the medical mask, which are more comfortable than the cloth mask. So now, how do we deal with non-compliance in the medical sphere? Yeah, the message you pass to your patient or to the client is important, but the ambience is also important, if not even more important than the message itself. So you have to pass that message in an atmosphere of trust, transparency, continuous, intensive education, respect, and clear communication. So there must be no ambiguity. So how do we now modify this, you know, to use in this COVID pandemic, because children are resuming and they have to comply with the safety protocol? Number one, the messenger. You know, we have the message and the messenger now. So we have the content and the context. So the messenger must be authoritative, must not be an authoritarian, but must be authoritative. So people usually, I mean, and this is the psychology of compliance, people usually would believe and comply with directives from figures that they feel are more legitimate in that enterprise, in that field. So who are the people talking to this, to Nigerians? Who are the people talking to us? Who are the people talking to the populace? They have to be people that people can trust. I mean, trustable persons, people with integrity, people with honesty, that people can go home with whatever they say and sleep.
In about 40 seconds, we've had this virus with us over 6 months.
Yes.
With the messages we've been getting from the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, state governments, have they been enough to, you know, get compliance from citizens?
Sometimes they have been contradictory because, you know, I said clear communication. Communication is not only verbal, there is also non-verbal. So the same people that are telling people, observe social distance, do this, do that. We have seen videos, Nigerians have seen videos of the same persons attending ceremonies where there is no social distance. So you are telling them to comply. So we need to go back to the drawing table. I mean, this is modeling. You have to, I mean, you see, communication is even more non-verbal than verbal. Talk is cheap, but doing it is not cheap. So what I want is that let's the PTF or all this task force or whatever they call themselves, let them go back to the drawing table and do the needful. I mean, let's not just stop. I mean, let's stop deceiving ourselves.
All right, we'd like to appreciate your time. Thank you so much, consultant psychiatrist Dr. Aino Oyikomi. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me.